Hi guys, welcome back to I Survived the Great Molasses Flood 1919 by Lauren Tarshis. Chapter 3.
Tony's face lit up as they took off running. Carmen knew he loved the taste of the thick, sticky syrup, and he wasn't the only one. Kids from the neighborhood visited the tank all the time. The tank leaked. Molasses was always dripping down the sides like ice cream melting down a cone. Kids would scoop the molasses into their mouths with their fingers or turn sticks into molasses lollipops. Who needed to waste a penny in the candy store when you could get all the free molasses? We can get all the molasses for free. I thought you hated molasses, Tony said as they trotted along. Carmen shrugged. Maybe I'll take some to Rosie. Rosie was a horse, an old mare, who lived at the stable where Papa worked. What's a mare?
A girl horse?
Yeah, I think so. Carmen, good job. Carmen liked to take her out for rides after school. They'd go to the park by the harbor.
Now I know, Rosie is the horse she rides on the cover. Look at the cover.
Oh, right.
See? She is riding Rosie.
Sure enough.
Looks like her legs are all burned, but that's impossible. There's no fires. It's a flood.
Carmen liked to take her for rides after school. They'd go to the park by the harbor. Rosie would nibble on the grass, and Carmen would write letters to Nona. Her grandmother loved hearing about all the people in the North End, but Tony was her favorite. She called him Trotolino, Wild Boy. But today, Rosie and Nona's letter would have to wait. It took only a few minutes to get to the tank, which rose up over them like the mountains in Carmen's village back in Italy. Except the tree-covered mountains were beautiful. The tank was hideous, brown-painted steel covered with syrupy slime.
That sounds delicious.
Tony slammed his hand onto the sticky tank. I win, he said gleefully. What's gleefully mean?
Cheerfully.
Good. Carmen grinned at her friend. She'd finally cheered him up. Nona's voice echoed in her mind. Ben Fado, good job. Wow, Tony said, pulling his hand away from the tank. His fingers dipped with syrup. It's leaking like crazy. Tony was right about that. The tank always leaked a little, but today the goo was bleeding through the lines where the sheets of metal came together. Thick streams of molasses ran down the sides. Tony stuck his finger into his mouth and closed his eyes. He said. Tastes like Cracker Jacks. Oh, we should get some Cracker Jacks. And nougat. Tomorrow.
Nougat.
We'll do it tomorrow. Nougat.
Where would we get nougat?
I don't know. I haven't seen Cracker Jacks for a while.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever seen Cracker Jacks, and I've never.
I've tried to buy them for you, but you didn't want them. Carmen dipped. It was a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
We'll try again.
I think I remember.
Carmen dipped a finger into the syrup, then took a cat-like lick. Blech. The molasses tasted sweet, but with a bitter black licorice aftertaste.
She shook her head and made a face. Tony laughed. Then he smeared some molasses above his top lip, making a sticky brown mustache. Hello, he said, lowering his voice. I'm Mr. Lawrence Reese's is now against the law.
Recess is now against the law.
What?
I'm Mr. Lawrence. Recess is now against the law.
Who's Mr. Lawrence?
I think he's probably acting like a teacher that's not very nice. Recess is now against the law.
They both had a good laugh. Let's find some sticks, Tony said. He started walking around the tank. They're going to make lollipops. Walking around the tank, scanning the ground, Carmen didn't need a stick. She'd had enough molasses. Thanks. Plus, being this close to the tank gave her a queasy feeling. She tried not to look at the dead flies stuck in the goopy puddles on the ground. She wrinkled her nose as she breathed in the sticky, sweet smell. Bleh. Was right. She stared at the tank, wondering why it leaked so much. Whoever built it did a bad job. And why did the molasses company have to put such a big tank right here? It blocked out the sun and ruined the views of the harbor. You read now.
And Carmen hated to think about what all that molasses was used for. She'd heard Papa and his boss, Mr. Vita,
Vita.
talking about it at the stable a few years ago. They were in the little black office playing cards. Carmen was brushing Rosie. They say it can hold more than 2 million gallons of molasses, Mr. Vita said. 2 million gallons? That sounds like enough to fill a big pond. Papa whistled. What do they do with it all? Carmen had been wondering the same thing. She knew some famous American foods had molasses in them, like baked beans and gingerbread.
Ooh.
But 2 million gallons? That was a lot of gingerbread. It's used for bombs, Mr. Vita said. Bombs? Papa said with surprise.
Bombs?
Carmen nearly
That's
dropped
weird.
Rosie's brush. Was Mr. Vita joking?
That's weird that they would even use molasses for bombs.
No.
Wow.
He explained that the molasses went to a factory where it was boiled down into something called industrial alcohol.
Alcohol?
Then it
That's bad.
was used to make dynamite and bombs. Strange, Carmen had thought. But then Rosie had snorted, impatient to get out for a walk. Carmen put the tank out of her mind. Back then, the molasses tank was just one of many stranger things about America. Strange things about America. Thank you. Carmen had only just figured out that red socks weren't things that you wore on your feet. And why did so many English words have sneaky letters that made no sounds? The bombs didn't mean much to Carmen either back then. The Great War had just started.
What's the Great War? Is it
World War I.
Oh, jeez.
Had just started. America hadn't yet joined the fight against Germany. But now, 3 years later, tens of thousands of American soldiers had been killed
in brutal battles. She knew this war was bloodier than any before. There was a new kinds of weapons, like the atomic bomb, like machine guns that fired hundreds of bullets a minute, and poisonous gas that burned soldiers' skin and lungs. Carmen stepped back and stared at the ugly tank as if she was seeing it for the first time. She pictured Mr. Lawrence limping through the classroom. Suddenly, this molasses didn't seem like any fun at all. She looked at Tony, whose face was covered with goo. She couldn't help smiling a little. Hey, she said, you done it yet? Just one more lick, Tony started. But he was cut off by sound. A low gurgling growl. Gurg, gug, 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 gug. Oh, wait. Gug, 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 gug. Gurg, gug, gug. Gug, gug.
That's it.
Oh, man.
That's it for his name.